Welcome, everybody. This is the Tanya Hoffman's Fabulous TV show, and I am Tanya Hoffman, and this is my fabulous guest, Mr. Zishan Raza. Hey, Zishan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fabulous. So we're going to have another great show today. I love bringing fabulous people to each one of you because we have, when you have connections like these, I think there's nothing more fun in life, right, Zishan, where you can
That's
get
right.
like super connected to people. And you're up in Canada. Is it cold up there?
It's getting cold now. Yeah, it's been it was late this year, but it's now getting really cold now.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's cold here in Texas, and it's like 60 degrees for us. So I don't know what that is Celsius, but it's too cold for me.
As long as it's positive, it's not cold. It has to be negative.
Yeah, that's just crazy then. So Zishan, tell us a little bit about you and what you've got going on.
I'm just rewriting my book, and the book is called You Turn Your Life. It was on Amazon. It was a bestseller on Amazon last year in August, and I'm just redesigning it, and I'm trying to relaunch the book by the end of this month. I'm also working on doing some public speaking. I'm launching my own show very soon, where I will be interviewing people who have done inspirational stuff like yourself, and where people have been given challenges in life, and rather than just doing like this, and they actually stood up and say, okay, you know what, we have to come out of it, and did something about it, and now they are sort of source of inspiration for others. So I'm looking for people, and so hoping to launch it this month. Other than that, working on some of my own programs, which I will be launching soon also. And I'm giving away my book right now for free if anybody is interested in reviewing it. So,
Me.
so I'll leave a link here in the message bar. If anybody is interested, they can download and post a review for me, and that would be a big help for me.
Awesome. And Jim Pagamsa says how wonderful it is. So I can't wait to get a hold of it and give you a write-up. So make sure I get a copy.
Yep, definitely. Just sign up for the link and you'll have it.
Awesome. Remind me to do that.
I'll put the link right now here, so everybody have it.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Alrighty. And, do you have your books to show everybody?
Not yet. I was just talking to the printer today, and I just got my new ISBN. So the ISBN is done. I got the company's name registered now. So a lot of it's called Smart Ideas Publishing. It's official now. So it's all happening at a pace. Today
Yay.
was a crazy day. A lot of things happened today, but yeah, it's happening. So no, I don't have a hard copy right now, but very soon I'll have it.
Yay. Well, I can't wait to see it and hold it in person. And because, tell people a little bit about, what is it about, and, so that they can kind of grab their teeth into it.
So a few years ago, I had a health condition, and I was told by my doctors that I'll be taking medicines for the rest of my life. And it was quite depressing for me, but it was also life-changing. I started to think about it, what caused it, and I did a lot of research, and I didn't want to go the route that my doctor was suggesting. So I started looking at alternative medicines, and in addition to medicine, also alternative lifestyle myself. I was going crazy about earning money and getting all the materialistic stuff and all that. So kind of took a step back and decided to look at life from a different perspective. And after a few months, by the grace of God, I was cured. I didn't have to do any medication or anything. But I came out with this new idea of living life in a healthier way, and this approach that I came out was not only applicable to a health situation, but any kind of challenge. When you are given a challenge in life, how do you deal with it? So I was thinking about it, and I said, maybe there are more people around me who I see, and I want to go and talk to them, but I'm just not in a position to speak to them at that length. So I said, let me put this all in the form of a book. So I did a book, and from the book, then I said, book is not doing so well. I'm not able to connect with people on one-on-one level. So I decided to do public speaking, and that's where you came in. And we joined Public Speakers Association. And from there, it's been an amazing ride. So many things have happened since then. One being that I've been interviewed on TV twice, which was awesome. I've been published in newspapers. So many articles have been written, and I've spoken at places where I never thought that I would be, allowed to talk about topics like personal development and self-help, community centers, and things like that. So it's been awesome, and it's just, I think it all has happened because rather than taking, what was doctor's opinion as my opinion, I said no, it has to be different. It doesn't have to be this way, and just keeping my head up and just being optimistic about, things are going to turn around. You just have to stick there, stick there and just be optimistic. Keep doing what you can do every day, even if it's 10 minutes. Just do something and just following, what my inner calling was, and it has turned out really well so far.
Well, and what's interesting, my husband and I were just talking about this, is you have a choice in life, right? You can, like, I used to be such a victim mentality, oh, poor me, and I totally get it. I had gone through a lot of poor me type of issues, and, when you go through cancer, you were robbed and tied up when you're 6 months pregnant, and those were the nice things. So, when you go through crap, you have, I think I had, a right to go, but what service was that doing me and the world and other people? Nothing.
Yes.
And don't you find that that's kind of, it's a head game, right? It's that, what are we really doing to ourselves and to others? Nothing, by, being in a dark place with a little, rain cloud.
Exactly. And I think it's also, I feel that whenever we are given a challenge, as you said, it's our decision as how we take it. We can take it as, now my life has ended, this is it, it's not going to be any better than this. Or you can look at it from a perspective that maybe I've been given this, so I can overcome it and then show to others how to do it, because I have done it. And I'm a human being like you, I have the same flesh and blood. I can do it, so can you. And so, as you said, how you look at it and then how you deal with it, that's exactly. And I had this passion of writing and speaking 15 years ago, and it was dead since I came into the profession of accounting, and I was working 9 to 5 and had family and all that, and it was gone. Like, it was, even I didn't even remember that I had this passion. And because of this health issue that came up, I was able to rejuvenate it. I thought, okay, this is what I used to really enjoy it. Tell you a very small thing. When I was young, my mom used to do grocery shopping, and she would leave me alone at home. And all I used to do, I would sit on the bed with a pillow in my lap. I had a pencil and a book, and I would write a story. And whether she comes back in an hour or two, I would not even notice how much time has passed. And that was my real connection, to writing and speaking. I used to enjoy it, and I had completely forgotten about it. And had I not been, diagnosed with what I was diagnosed with, I would have probably never discovered it till my retirement age. So, whatever challenges we are given, probably actually it is for our own benefit. We have forgotten about something, or we were supposed to do something which we are not doing. It's kind of a tap on the back. You are supposed to do something, you're not doing it, and it's kind of a reminder that you have to do it.
Well, I know, I'm not a big quote person, but one of the, sometimes things just hit you on the head and you're like, oh, And I read this quote that said, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And I'm like, all this time I've been trying to find who I am. Who is Tanya? When all I had to do is go create it. And a lot of people are like, but I don't know who to create. I'm like, who does? You just go and do. And the more you do, the more you realize you do have the power to change yourself. You do have the power to affect this world in a positive change, right?
Exactly. We just think, that we have. So if I speak to some people, and sometimes all I hear is excuses, so if I ask, okay, so there are people who want to do what I'm doing. There are accountants out there who want to do what I have done so far. And you believe I have written articles, and people have actually criticized me, and they said that you have probably given up time on your family, and you have been very selfish about yourself, and all those things. And what really it is because they also want to do it, but they have not been able to overcome their excuses. So they have this mentality that this guy, but deep down, it's they also want to do these things, and everybody is capable of doing it. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
you have to break those walls which are created by our own selves and come out and say, yeah, I can do it. That's all it is
Yeah.
required.
I know, for my goal every year is the same goal. And people think that's like, what? You got a horrible goal if it never changes, right? But my goal is to look back at myself the year before and not recognize myself anymore. And that's incredibly hard to do. That means you have pushed yourself and transformed yourself by doing things. I mean, look, if you had told me a year ago I'd be on live broadcast, I'd be like, what? Whatever, And
Yeah.
so you do things, especially when you're like, oh, I don't know, this is a little different, this is scary, this is out of my comfort zone. And then pretty soon you're like, oh, yeah, I'm a blabber. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Just have to go for it. And I think the other thing I notice is a lot of people know that they can do a few things, but they're waiting for the perfect moment. Or if they're writing a book, they want the book to be perfect. Or if they're launching a course, or if they are even anything that they're doing a business, they want it to be at a perfect stage and
Yeah,
then launch it. And that's the worst thing that you can do about it. You have
yeah,
to start where you are right now, just go for it. And perfection, it will never come. It's like you always say, it's a tweak. You keep tweaking it, you keep making it better, and it will happen. But do not wait for the perfect time, for the perfect circumstances, because then the life will end and it will never happen.
exactly. And I mean, used to be a perfectionist, and because that's the way I grew up. If you didn't get it right, you had to go do it again. My dad was a very big stickler about doing things right the first time
Yeah.
and making you do it again if it just wasn't to his satisfaction. And but then you feel empty. Like there's nothing you can actually do that's good enough.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you have to kind of look back and go, okay, Tanya, let it go. And I
Mhm.
remember at that point, you probably have had this, kind of aha moment yourself. I sent out, emails to a huge database of people, and you'd always get those person like, oh, you misspelled this, or your grammar was bad here, and they would critique your email. And
Yeah.
then one day I hired a professional writer, that was going to make it beautiful, no errors. I was like, this is going to be great. No one's going to complain. And I
Yeah.
pushed it out. Now, the only thing I was responsible for was the subject line.
Right.
Guess what? I misspelled the subject line. And so I pushed it out. And sure enough, a guy messaged me back and he's like, hey, by the way, you used there instead of there, right? Or something like that. It was something stupid. And he still bought my program,
Yeah.
right? Whatever the email was. And it made me go, oh, it was like this click that it did not matter. He understood which there I meant, and
Yeah.
it didn't mean that much that he wasn't going to buy it, and other people bought into it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, from that moment on, I just threw my hands up. I'm like, I am imperfect. Live with it. If you don't like it, go away.
And I was reading somewhere, it said, whether you are presenting online or you're presenting live, there would be always this 20% of the crowd who would not agree with you, who would not like what you're talking about. And it's almost impossible to satisfy or make everybody happy. So,
Yeah.
and so there will be always something, like no matter how hard you try, you will find those people who will find something wrong with what you said or what you wrote, or however you describe it. So if you keep worrying about them, then it will never happen. So like
Yeah.
you push the email out, it happened, the guy bought the course, and all is well. So
Yeah. It's like I was just talking to a gentleman a couple weeks ago from Oklahoma, and he has a very thick Okie accent, right? And he's like, do I need to change my accent and get rid of it? I'm like, I love your accent. It makes you stand out. And his subject matter, it really fit what he was talking about. It's just kind of that authentic self. And I said, if someone has a problem with your accent, they are not going to be the people who want to hang around you anyways, So you have to decide who it is that you resonate with and you want to be around. And that doesn't mean taking everyone in as your client. You know, you have the opportunity to say who you want to have as friends, family, even. That was a little bit more of a challenge, but and clients, you know, and even if you're got a job, what company are you working with?
Yeah.
What kind of people are you working with?
That's true. And one thing comes to mind. I have discussed this with some people, like you mentioned, family, and of course, there are certain situations. There are people who are negative, but you cannot completely run out of them. So what I practice myself, and I suggest other people do the same, is that you can create a kind of an invisible wall between you and them when you're around them. So don't pay attention to what they are saying. Don't get, so if they're pulling you into an argument, don't get pulled into it. Just stay away with your ears, because our ears, like, we can pay attention to one thing and we can completely blank out something else, even if it's going, like, it's a very common example. People say, if you are in a busy place where so many people are talking and suddenly someone will call your name, you will pay attention to it right away, which proves that you are capable of blanking out some stuff and paying attention to something else. So if you have a family member, you cannot run away from them all the time, and they are negative. They will definitely have, they will pull you down also. But what you can do is create that invisible wall when you are around them. But now, there is a limit to it, of course. But I'm just saying, there are ways of doing it.
Yes, and sometimes you have to really make those hard decisions on who, sometimes there's family. I have disconnected from a huge part of my family, and it was a decision that I made because they did not have the values that I had, and being around them really jeopardized myself and my family. I didn't want my children to grow up with their huge negativity, especially since we didn't have any of their values, which were it was so painful. So sometimes you just have to let those people go and say, it's okay. Just because I was born into one side of the family doesn't mean I have to keep that side, And friends too, I've had dropped friends because sometimes, and you have to look at people that you connect with from a business standpoint. There are people that I talk to that you're just like, click, you're like breathless friends. You and I, we've always, in Jim that's listening, we just click. There's that moment of, we just get each other. And then there's some people that you just like, I don't think I need to build a relationship with you, and you just let it go. And I know the big names, and there's some people that people are like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, yeah, okay, move along.
Yeah, that is true, and it's unfortunate. Like, over the surface, when we talk about it, like letting go of people, whether they are family or friends or whatever, it seems like a bad thing to do. But if you really, think about it, everybody that we connect with and everything that we see, whether it's media, whatever we read, it has an impact on our conscious mind and on our subconscious mind. And so if you're around these negative people all the time, and they would definitely pull you down and make you negative, even if you don't want it. And you will see it happening in your life. You will see things going wrong. Some deal that you were working on, it will not work out, or there was some money you were expecting to come in, it will not come in. And it will all happen because unconsciously we have taken their part of your negativity in our minds, and so it manifests itself in terms of different results. So, and so much so that some people go so far saying that these negativities also manifest themselves in our bodies in the form of different diseases. And so there's no real scientific evidence to prove all of this, but it's better to stay away from it. Like they say, precaution is better than cure. So we know that these things have an impact. Might as well just stay away from it.
Well, I know with me, I grew up with, children are to be seen and not heard. And then women were supposed to be seen and not heard. And, and I was just kept myself so hidden. I mean, I love showing people the picture of me in 2005, right? This is Tanya, the introvert. So 11 years ago now, actually it's about 10 years ago, because it was at the Holiday Gala in 2005. And that's the way I dressed for a gala, by the way, back then. It was about keeping myself safe and hidden. And because I had no voice, I barely talked ever. So I think I had thyroid cancer, and those who like talking about chakras, I was talking to a lady, she goes, oh yeah, that's your throat chakra, that's your voice. And
Yeah.
that's where I had my cancer, right?
Right.
And I think there is some validity in that. We kind of harbor things inside ourselves and it kind of festers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you move into a positive light, I think it's so much better all around, for everybody.
Yeah.
And for a point, with the Public Speakers Association, I've got my 2 rules, right? You have to be nice, no mean, grumpy, negative people, and no perfect people are allowed.
Yeah.
And when I look at that idea of not just perfection, but just being nice, they think it's funny that I do kick out people with that rule. I'm like, I'm so sorry, you're not being nice. Now, what do I actually do? 90% of the people never get kicked out.
Yeah.
Because someone, say Zishan was like, oh my gosh, Joni is just so negative and she's driving me nuts, and, can you have a talk with her because she's not following the rule?
Yeah.
Now, I would then go to talk to somebody else in the area because it may just be a personality conflict, right?
Yeah.
So then I find out, is it her or is it just that situation? When I find out it's more than that, then there's a conversation.
Yeah.
90% of the time, that person is in total denial that they aren't being nice. And I just throw it back on them. I'm like, obviously there's something going on. It's the words you're choosing, because I know I used to be that way. Back in 2005, I started realizing how negative my words were, how negative I was, and I had no idea. I always thought I was a really nice, positive person. But it's the words we chose. Yeah. And it's like this, people are like, how are you doing, Tanya? And I was like, well, today, you just start, everything's like, oh, who wants to hang around that?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, 90% of the people turn around. 10% go away because they really are just negative. And yeah, but, most people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was being that negative.
And in that way, Public Speakers Association is doing a public service by identifying people if they are being negative.
Slapping people. Now, I know with your whole, issues with your health and everything, was there like one thing that was the hardest to give up or to change for you?
I think it was more of because I had migrated from Dubai to Canada very recently. We were used to a certain lifestyle. How people talk about Dubai. Every 6 months you have a new phone. Every 1 year you have the new car. So we were kind of used to that lifestyle. And when I came here, I wanted to keep the same lifestyle. Of course, the financial resources are different here, especially because of the taxation and the structure and all that. Oh. And so I think I often say to people that Dubai kind of spoiled me. Before going to Dubai, I was 7 years I was in Dubai. So before going to Dubai, I was in Pakistan, and we were used to kind of a life where you have to struggle, where you have to do things to make things happen. And in Dubai, it's kind of a lot of things are just on the plate, and you have so much money, so you kind of get spoiled and you lose all your energy and things that you want to do. So that was probably a bit difficult for me to come out of this rust. I was rusted. I was very lazy kind of thing. I was expecting things to work out on their own, and that was probably the most difficult thing for me. And so, and you know what, I just wanted to mention, you mentioned thyroid cancer, and I had a thyroid problem also. And when I started public speaking, I started writing, it automatically went away. And what's more interesting is I was in a meeting in Philadelphia last December. I met a lady who is based in US, and I was talking to her about, and she had experienced exactly the same thing. She had a thyroid problem. Doctors told her exactly the same thing they told me. And she came out, she wrote a book, started public speaking and all that, and it was gone. So it's unbelievable, how all of these things kind of tie up.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love your story from going from Pakistan to Dubai to Canada. Wow, what a transition.
Yeah.
Have you always wanted to be cold your whole life? Is that the thing?
No, not really. One of my friends is online right now, Ali Zahir. He is partly responsible for me being in Canada. Um,
Oh, so you, Ollie, that's what it is.
yeah. So I had never come to Canada before. It was when we got the immigration, that was the first time I came here. But I had heard such good things about this country, and from day one, I thoroughly enjoyed living here, and I really enjoy my life here. So, yeah,
Nice.
very good decision.
Nice. Nice. Is I'm sure the food's got to be a challenge to change, and there's got to be so many things you got to get accustomed to. Seems like that. I know because when my husband goes to Germany to see his family or Mexico, because he's half German, half Mexican, so he's the biggest freaking Mexican you've ever seen. And every time he's like, oh, they close early, they close for lunch, everything's closed all the time. It's such an adjustment.
Yeah. Well, I think I was fortunate that I came here after so many people had come here before, who belong to Pakistan or India or Middle East. So when I came here, most of the things that I prefer were already there. So, like in terms of restaurant, in terms of the community was already established, in terms of so many things that we look for, people had already done research. And some of the things we used to do when we were in Dubai, we used to call grocery stores here in Canada and we used to ask them if they carry the milk that we drink. So we had kind of done some research before coming here also. But overall, in terms of restaurants and stuff, we didn't have but it was just the weather. Weather was a big change because we were in plus 50 centigrade to minus 25 here. So that was the biggest challenge. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest challenge. But it's fun to to play in the snow, and it's like going back to what you said earlier, how you take it. So there are
Yeah.
people who come here and they complain about, oh, we have to wear so many jackets and I have to wear the boots and I have to do this and that. And but we enjoy it. We enjoy walking in the snow, playing, making snowman, and it's all the perspective what you look at.
Exactly. I know, so many people they're like, "Oh, Texas is so hot."
Yeah.
I love it, right? I can't even imagine, trying to live in Canada because, here it's freezing to me already and I'm like, I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for 90 degrees weather, which is probably more like Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure, that has got to be such excitement. Did you bring your whole family or was it just you?
Yeah, so now fortunately, except my sister, all of my family is here, and my wife's family is also here. So we were fortunate in
Oh,
that we all of us got our immigration papers and everything one by one. So yeah, almost everybody is here. So yeah, it's good.
that's fantastic. I was just talking to a lady from England, and that's one of the things that she longs for her family, which are all in England,
Yeah,
and, she goes, I love America. She lives here in Austin with me and she loves it here, but that's the one thing that makes it so hard for her, especially as you're starting to develop your business,
yeah,
trying to connect with people. I think one of the things that's always interesting to me, because I speak at all kinds of events,
hmm,
and ones that are specific to a certain culture or even really to any event, a lot of times they look like the whole event looks like whoever's putting the event on. So if it's a Hispanic event, they're all
yeah,
Hispanics. If it's African American, they're all African American. If it's, whoever the person is leading is
yeah,
usually, the counterpart. I
yeah.
love diversity, and that's probably something that you may have experienced traveling all over the place, is seeing so much diversity in different areas.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned when I was in Middle East, I was fortunate to work for a large corporation, and so we used to travel to UK and Europe all the time. So I've gone to that part of the world, and then Australia is the only continent that I haven't been to. I've North America, I've been to US and Canada and Middle East and Asia, so almost been to all the continents except Australia. So I just like you, I love diversity, and that's one of the things which we talk about when we talk about our community. People who come from
Mm.
outside and they come here in Canada, most of them stay within their community, which is the biggest mistake because you were in
Yeah.
your community before coming here. Now is the time to diversify. So I am a big believer in, and most of my friends are not do not belong to my community. They belong outside, and like Jim and yourself, and there are so many others. They're based in US. So yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that I have learned is the more cultures you experience, the more new things that you discover about. So from religious perspective to what are the traditions that different people do, and then you kind of dig to why you do it, and then you kind of relate things together. So and you yourself, I think, your personal level, people are very judgmental like human beings are very judgmental basically. So but
Yeah.
if we want to come out of that being judgmental, we have to experience other cultures and see what that's about. And when we
Exactly.
experience other cultures, then we say, oh, but they are also humans like us. They just cook the food differently, they look differently, they talk differently, but their issues are the same. They have the same problems, they have the same hopes, they want to do the same
Yeah.
things in life. So that kind of takes away that part of our mind, or at least minimizes our judgmental. Otherwise, you see a person and immediately you put a label on it. Okay, this
Yeah.
guy is this and this guy is that, and you probably lose a lot of business relationships because of that.
I know, because I go in, obviously, like I said, so I speak everywhere, and I love getting people connected to all these different speaking opportunities. Because you go to, a tech conference, and there's a very specific type of people there, and then you go to a women's conference, and you got a completely different set of people, and you start seeing different values, different ideas, different ways of approaching things, and then you start experiencing how other people enjoy life
Yeah,
and not enjoy life, so you see all these different perspectives. And that's what I think that's one of the neatest things about speaking, is to show people they only see you. They don't see what you've gone through in life, right? And going and sharing those moments with them helps them realize how similar we are. I was just talking to a lady that she's very much into the African American women's group associations and events and all. And they always talk about how the African American women community doesn't support each other.
yeah,
And I was like, I don't know what you're expecting, because the white chicks don't do it either. And she's like, what are you talking about? She, in her perspective, we were all incredibly supportive of each
yeah,
other. And I'm like, that's just across the board.
yeah. That is so true, so true.
It's about finding people like you and like Jim, and you find these jewels of people that do help and do support and bring value to each other. And that, I think, covers anybody. You just have to go out and find those people.
Yeah. And the one more thing, which I have learned in this short period of time that I've been in the public speaking and all that, is I meet a lot of people who are only interested in what you can do for them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but I have seen some very successful people, including yourself, who believe in giving first. And I was listening to somebody, um, and they said, there's this famous saying, do unto others like you want to, you do, but at the same time, first do it for them, and then expect something to happen for you. So that's what I've learned. And almost in all the business conversations that I have, if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, or if I'm trying to establish a relationship, almost every time I ask them, the first question is, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Is there anything that you want promoted? Things like that. And naturally, it's a natural reaction. They would, at the end of the conversation, say, okay, you're doing these things for me. What can I do for you? So
Exactly.
it kind of works in the same, result is the same. They will end up doing something for me, but it would be more of, they would be happy about it. It's not that
Yeah.
being selfish about it, that I want something for you to do for me, but I'm not doing anything for you. It doesn't work
Yeah.
that way.
Well, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't have anything to give, Tanya. I don't have, whatever. And I'm like, you do. You always run into somebody that you can connect them to. And I always tell people, you start building a database. Start with 5 people, right? So everyone is listening. You already have Zishan, you have me. Put us into your database and say, do you know Zishan Raza? Oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't know him. He is so fabulous. And then you do that with Tanya. You do you connect people to each other, and
Yeah.
that is the easiest way. And then if you've got part of any groups, networking groups, associations, you're like, hey, have you heard about the Public Speakers Association? Have
Yeah.
you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And when you just connect them to opportunities,
Yeah.
now you're also helping them.
Yeah.
And so I found that is the best two ways, especially if you're just starting out, to help people, because it's easy to do. There's no cost to you to help those people connect.
Exactly. And with internet and technology, it's so easy. You can just drop an email, CC the other person and say, okay, this is the person I was talking about. You can take more information from this person, and the work is done.
Yeah, and especially with phones now, you've got Facebook, you got instant message, so you can see when people are talking to you. You got LinkedIn, Twitter, there's so many ways to connect people that there's no excuses anymore. And, and really looking to leverage, because most people don't know how to leverage,
Yeah.
I love that you're going to start your own show. I'm always encouraging people, and I just found out about a new one called Mevi. Have you heard of it?
No.
I know. There's another live broadcast. So we got Periscope, and now we got Blab, and now we got Mevi, which is kind of like Periscope. It's an app on your phone. So we'll
Okay.
see how that one turns out.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the monologuing, which is what Periscope and Mevi
Yeah.
looks like they're doing. There's someone just talking into a phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like chatting. And there's I've been working on the new, oh my gosh, there's so many new speaking opportunities coming up, which is really exciting because everyone's starting to get ready for this next year.
Yeah.
And so I've been working on all the ones I'm about to send out to the group, to the Public Speakers Association members. And it's so much fun to see what's out there, because you're like, ooh, Zishan should be totally in this, right? Or Jim should totally go for this one.
Yeah.
And, you hope that the people do it, that they see it, they see the value. But I see a lot of people that don't, and you probably run into this a lot, is people discount themselves. They like, oh, well, that might be for you, Zishan, but that's not for me. I can't be a speaker. I can't,
It happens all the time, and it's not only in the public speaking business. It's like in everything. Like, people tell me all the time, you can write the book, but I cannot run, or you can manage 2 things, but I cannot do it. I have so many things to do, and it's just our own limitations. We just think we cannot do it. Once we make a decision, okay, this is something I have to do, and I see things open up themselves all the time. All you have to do, like, the way I found Public Speakers Association was, like you said, I wrote an email to all my friends who were on LinkedIn, and I just said, I'm looking to expand into speaking. Do you know anybody you can connect me with? And one of my friends from my accounting profession, she connected me to a TV producer, who connected me to Jim, who connected me to Public Speakers Association. And it was kind of that's how it worked. But if I would have thought, I don't know anybody in public speaking, so I cannot speak, then it would have never happened. So all I did is I threw it out there, and I said, let's see what happens. And only one person responded. That's more interesting. I had sent an email to 50 people. Only one person responded, who connected me, to Jim and then yourself. So that's how it works. So, but yeah, you have to put yourself out there, believe it can happen. Even if, the one thing that I find is, in the beginning, if we haven't done something like this Blab, for example, if we haven't done something and this is the first time, that's the biggest fear. There's a biggest fear inside. What would happen? Something will go wrong. God forbid, what's happening?
Yeah.
All I did is, I asked you, I want to do a Blab. Can we do something? And you proposed a time, and it was so difficult for me, believe me, to come online on Blab today. Just forced myself. I said, I have to do it. Go out there.
Where's my phone? I should show people the text. You're like, ah!
So yeah, so it's just,
What I say to you, Zishan, is like, it's easy. Just come on, let it go.
No, but I'm just taking this as an example. Like, anything
Exactly.
that is new, you definitely have to push yourself. But that's all is required. 90% of the time, the things that we worry about never materialize. So we might worry about anything can happen. Anything can definitely happen. It is going to happen whether we take that step or not. So might as well just take the chance and go for it. and 90% of the times it doesn't happen. So there is really no need to be afraid of anything.
Well, and the first time I did Blab, I mean, it was a total disaster. Jim was just saying how he was like, on, his first one, That's why we were all here to support each other, And that's why with PSA and a lot of things that I do is I try to do things first so then I can have y'all come in and show y'all that it's not, this scary world, that we can all do these things, And if we can all help each other, keep an eye out for what's new, what's fresh, what's working, what's not working. That's another one that's, important to find, tell people when you try something, you're like, okay, y'all stay away from that. Or giving suggestions and things, it's a huge bonus for people to connect and to develop those relationships that make real impact for each other.
Yeah.
I was so looking forward to meeting you the next week, and one of these days we're going to meet in person. So you and Jim need to get together and put on a huge event so I can come up there, and but not until it warms up. I do have to suggest that. Yeah. So when you look at, this next 2016, obviously, my goal is, to look back at myself this time next year and not recognize myself. So what is your goal for 2016 besides, your book and get it all finished and all?
I think one of the biggest things which I have not been able to achieve so far is being invited to speak at TEDx, TEDx events. I've applied a couple of times, not been successful, but doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. So that's one big thing for me this year. And of course, launching my courses is because that's where I think the value of my work is, because I've written the book, but in the book, I have not been able to discuss in detail what I can really provide. And there are so many techniques that I know that I have not discussed in the book. When your work, and also my coaching business. So I've launched my coaching business. I'm looking for clients. I'm right now offering free coaching to anybody who is willing to sign up for a 4-week coaching program. Every week we'll have a call for 45 minutes, and I'll go through and I'll help them with their goals, if they are stuck somewhere, if they have a challenge in life, how to overcome that, and using the things that I have learned, and I can prove it to them that this works and this doesn't work. So those are some of the things: my coaching, TEDx, and my courses, and of course this show that I'm launching, and also getting more media coverage, because I'm working on getting more publicity, because the more people know about it, it's not so much about generating money, although it will be, in the end it will come, but it's more about spreading my message. That was the reason I stepped into public speaking in the first place, because book is one place, then you have public speaking, but if you can go out to mass media, major news channels, and you can get more people's attention, more people know about these things, we can bring a much larger change in the world, rather than they say even one person can bring a lot of change, but it will only come when people know about it. So that's one of the goals for 2016, to get more media attention.
Yay. And, one of the things that I always look at is, when I want something, how can I make it happen? Yeah. So, you could look at talking, a lot of the TEDx talks are done through universities. Yeah. So if you've got a major university there locally, go and talk to them about doing one, and then you're involved. And of course, when you're involved, things will happen for you. So that's a suggestion for you,
That's a good idea. I saw on their website, you're right, they are happening in a lot of universities all around Toronto. And so I did look at it, but I never thought about it from that perspective, but that's a very good idea. I'll definitely,
And I know I've got I'm sending out those speaking opportunities, and one of them is in Ottawa.
Okay.
So, and I can't remember what it is, but anyways, I know there's a Canadian one in there, because I was thinking about all of y'all when I was like, oh, this is going to be good. So look for that email coming out. Yeah. And everyone that's listening, if you haven't checked us out, I'll go put it back into the little chat window too. It's publicspeakersassociation.com flip. I can't talk and type obviously at the same time. And we have some speaking opportunities that I'm sending out, but I'm also looking for speakers for our virtual summits. Change Your World Virtual Summit is January 20th through the 21st. It's a live 25-minute straight presentation over the phone, and you have a lead generator at the end. So you get to have people contact you or opt into your newsletter or whatever you want to do to drive that traffic to you. But it's live, but then it's recorded and posted up onto the website. But I push out your name, your face, and what you speak about to my 20,000 people on social media. So it's a great way to get your name out there and your message heard. So make sure you jump in on that. You could simply go to publicspeakersassociation.com, and over under members page, there's a drop down that says schedule summit. You click on that and you fill the forms out and you're good to go. If you're not a member yet, why aren't you? We would love to have you in. We'd love to have you on the TV show. They're normally at 10 a.m. Central Time every morning when I'm in town. And I love doing it. It's so much fun to have people on. And Jim, we got to get you back on my show and have some fun. Maybe we could have a Canadian one. We could get Zishan. We could get Suji. Is it Suji or Sujit? Suji.
Yeah.
And some others up there. That would be a fun show.
So, I just wanted to let people know, whoever is listening and who will listen to it afterwards. Right now, I'm looking for people to, anybody to review my book, and I'm giving the book away free. All you have to do is, sorry, this is the link for a freebie that I'm giving away right now. And this is the link for, if you want to sign up for a review. So just sign up there, and I'll send you a free copy of my book. You can review it and post it on Amazon when it's launched. And the first link was from my main website, where you can download a freebie. It's basically for stress management. And the name of the freebie that I'm giving, let me tell you that, is called Lower Your Stress Level by 50% in the Next 24 Hours.
Nice. Who doesn't need to do that?
Go ahead and do those also.
Nice, perfect. And lots of excitement coming up for 2016. We would love for everyone to be on and be connected. You know, one of the things that I love doing is showing people how they can create movement for their life so that they could go out and cause like this ripple effect, changing other people's lives, you know. So get connected with Zishan. He's incredible. You definitely need to connect with him. If y'all don't know Jim Pagamsis, his little Twitter handle is over there, so make sure you connect with him also. They're up in Toronto area. Obviously, I'm Tanya Hoffman. I'm the CEO and founder of the Public Speakers Association, and I want to help you get your name out there and your message heard. So please follow me. I'm on all of the social media aspects. Tanya with an O, and Hoffman. My husband's family does not know how to spell it right, so it's one F like Frank, two N's, Nancy. So Tanya Hoffman, and it's on all the social media sites you can imagine. So, but yay, well, it was great to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Tanya. It's amazing.
Perfect. Oh, and another thing I want to tell everyone real quick is we have nominations open. So if you want something to put on your bio, especially if you're a speaker, so Suji, I want you on there. Jim, I want you to get on there. Put in a nomination for Collaborator of the Year. So everyone can get themselves nominated. Yes, you can nominate yourself, or you can have someone nominate you. It doesn't matter. The panel really doesn't care if you nominate yourself or not. So you could be local, national, or international Collaborator of the Year, and then all year long and forevermore, you can have that in your bio as an official nomination, because nominations are almost good as actual, you know, awards. So, and you might win too. So go to Public Speakers Conference. Let me put that into the little chat window. And that way you can sign up for that. We also have on the same website, and let me finish typing so I can think. On the same website, you can submit up to a 5-minute video, and then we're going to have a contest to see who has the best it's like business tip, best personal development tip, which is one would be great for you. You know, one that's a whatever. There's a new speaker one. There's a best story. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. So you can find out which topics you want to do, submit them. I think Jim's already done one. Hello there. Thanks for joining us. So get in there and submit, because now that's another thing you can use for your bios that you present, is that you're in an award contest for best of whatever the category is. So definitely do that. It's again on publicspeakersconference.com. Our conference is in June 26th through the 29th in Palm Springs, California. So it'll be nice and warm, which y'all probably are looking forward to right now in Canada there. And it's going to be at the Hard Rock Hotel. So we're going to have a rocking good time and get connected to some of the most brilliant people and nicest people you can imagine. So I hope you come back on the show soon, Mr. Raza.
Thank you.
Did you have a good time today?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good. That's what it's about, is, how can we have fun and make a living and have more fun and get connected and have more fun. So thank you, Zeeshan, for being on today. I appreciate your time and all your expertise and just your lovely smile.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Make sure you get connected, stay connected, and reach out and say hello. So I will see everybody later. Bye.